Okay, so we're diving into this recording of the Will and Tellermade Show you sent over.
Yeah.
And it's not like your average craft fair, is it? It's like someone took Etsy and swapped the handmade soaps for GPTs and digital creations.
Oh, yeah.
I even saw anime fashion in there.
It really shows you how accessible these AI tools are becoming. I mean, the show is like a snapshot of this whole community of entrepreneurs using AI.
Yeah.
And not even just the techie people. We're talking artists, craftspeople, just regular folks figuring out how to use AI to turn their passions into businesses.
That's really cool. And you know what else struck me? It doesn't feel competitive at all.
Yeah.
Everyone seems so genuinely supportive of each other.
Right.
Which you don't always see in the online business world, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But before we get too deep into the community aspect,
Okay.
can you give a quick rundown of the show's format? What's it all about?
So the Will and Tellermade Show is kind of like a live variety show. Each creator gets their own little segment to demo their work and share their tips and tricks.
Oh,
Will is the MC. He's got this super energetic, almost chaotic energy.
I like that.
And then Taylor is his co-host, and she keeps things organized and makes sure they stay on track.
Nice.
They do running gags. They've got theme music for each guest.
How fun.
It's like its own little world.
So it's not just about the products.
Exactly.
It's about the personalities, too.
Right.
And speaking of personalities, we've got Kim, Talia, Lydia, Bree, Elkeisha, and Adrian in this episode.
Yeah, quite the lineup.
And they're not all just making GPTs, are they?
Nope, you got a real mix. Like Kim is all about personalized crafts. Talia is big on the whole community building aspect.
Right.
And then you've got creators like Adrian who are really pushing the boundaries with what you can do with GPTs.
So Adrian is where things start to feel really futuristic. He
Definitely.
shows off this GPT he built that can generate all kinds of image styles. He even says it helps him get around some of Etsy's restrictions on AI-generated art prompts.
Oh, really?
Do they actually explain how it works?
He explains that it works off of these simple number inputs. Like you pick a number from a menu and it spits out a specific image style.
It's like a PDF guide or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
It streamlines that whole image creation process, which could be huge for artists and designers.
That sounds amazing. But wouldn't that, like, devalue the work of human artists?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Do they talk about it at all on the show?
They didn't really get into the ethical debates in this episode.
Okay.
What they did focus on was what Adrian calls his free sauce.
Free sauce. What's that?
His special tips for taking GPTs even further. He talks about this idea of chaining GPTs together, where one generates prompts for another. It's like AI amplifying AI.
Hold on. How does that even work?
He didn't really get into the nitty-gritty, but just imagine, instead of just relying on your own input, you're basically getting different AIs, each with their own style and strengths, to work together.
Oh, wow. That's really powerful.
It is.
But also kind of scary when you think about, like, authorship and who's really in control, right?
Definitely raises some questions.
My mind is blown. Okay, so Adrian is using this GPT magic for images.
Yep.
And if you can get around Etsy restrictions, that's a big deal. What else is he doing with it?
Well, he's not just using it for image creation. He's using ChatGPT in conversation mode to create a personalized AI assistant.
So it's like having an AI brainstorming partner. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, imagine having an AI that can help you come up with ideas, refine concepts, even write scripts.
But isn't there a risk of becoming too reliant on the AI? Like, where's the line between assistance and just letting the machine do all the work?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that we're going to have to think about more and more
Right.
as these tools become even more sophisticated. This episode doesn't really give us any easy answers, but it definitely shows how important it is to think critically about our relationship with AI, both as creators and as consumers.
So Adrian is pushing the boundaries of the tech.
He is.
But then you've got someone like Lydia, who's using AI to tackle a completely different kind of challenge.
Oh, yeah.
She's working with digital fashion, specifically in the anime aesthetic. Can you tell me more about that?
So Lydia noticed that a lot of anime-inspired art, especially digital fashion, doesn't really represent melanated people very well.
Right.
She saw this gap as an opportunity, and so she created a GPT specifically to create inclusive anime fashion. She calls it a Cheek Chronicles Anime Edition.
Okay, I am here for that. It's not just about the tech, it's about using it to challenge norms.
Absolutely.
And create something that's both beautiful and meaningful.
Yeah.
Did she actually show off any of her designs on the show?
Oh, yeah, she does it live. She starts with this stunning New Year's Eve gown, and then she generates a summer outfit and an autumn look, all with this amazing anime flair.
I'm trying to picture this. Is it all super high-tech? Or can you still see the human touch in the designs?
There are actually a few funny moments where the GPT doesn't quite get it right.
Really?
Like in one of the outfits, it puts shorts where a bikini bottom should be.
Oh, no.
It's a good reminder that even with these fancy tools, we still need humans to provide direction and make sure things make sense.
So it's not about replacing human creativity.
Right.
It's about enhancing it.
Yeah.
This is like a whole new way of designing fashion.
It really is.
And Lydia's a trailblazer. Her segment really shows how AI can empower creators from all kinds of backgrounds and push for more diversity in art and design.
Excellent.
And as we're seeing, AI can be used for more traditional crafts as well.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Kim then.
Okay.
She's the one doing the personalized keychains and earrings and puzzles.
Yeah.
So how is she blending AI into that?
It's interesting. Kim isn't actually using AI for the crafting itself.
Oh.
She's using it for inspiration and for some of her materials. She's taking AI-generated art and incorporating that into her puzzles. It gives them this really unique, almost futuristic look.
That's smart. So she's supporting other AI creators while also offering something unique to her customers.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
I'm curious about the materials she uses for the rest of her crafts. Does she mention any specific tools or techniques?
She's all about using everyday materials, things that are easy to get.
Cool.
She talks about cardstock, chipboard, resin.
Oh, wow.
She even gives specific brand recommendations.
Nice.
She really wants people to know that they can do this, too.
Yeah.
That you don't need a fancy studio or a bunch of expensive equipment to get started.
Wait, hold on. Does she offer classes or something?
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling crafty all of a sudden.
She does. She mentions a class where she teaches people how to make puzzles, keychains, earrings, necklaces, the whole 9 yards. She's really passionate about empowering others to tap into their creativity.
That's great.
Maybe even start their own businesses.
I love her energy. It's like this whole episode is a masterclass in creativity, but with this added AI layer that just takes everything to another level.
It's amazing to see these creators blend traditional techniques with cutting-edge technology.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to experiment, to collaborate, to really see what's possible.
And it's not just about their own individual success.
Right,
They
yeah.
really emphasize community and lifting each other up.
It's a really powerful message.
Speaking of which, you mentioned Talia and her focus on community building.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that next.
Okay.
I think we've got enough here for part one.
Sounds good.
All right, so you mentioned Talia and her focus on community building. Let's talk about that. It's so refreshing to see that kind of collaboration,
Yeah.
especially in a field that's often, seen as cutthroat and competitive.
Talia's really pushing that rising tide lifts all boats mentality.
I like that.
She's all about sharing referrals, celebrating each other's wins, and rejecting that whole crab in a barrel thing where people try to pull each other down. It's really inspiring.
Some people might hear that and think, well, that's nice in theory, but business is business.
Right.
Did Talia address those kind of more cynical viewpoints at all?
She actually makes a really good point.
Okay.
She says that by supporting each other,
Yeah.
they're actually expanding the market for everybody.
Oh, interesting.
It's not just about being nice.
Right.
It's actually a smart business strategy. When you help someone else succeed, you're ultimately helping yourself.
I see. Makes you wonder if this collaborative spirit is like unique to this show or if it's part of a larger trend happening in the creator economy as a whole.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure, but
Right.
this episode really highlights how powerful community can be, especially in a field that's as new and as rapidly evolving as AI.
Yeah.
It makes you think, are we entering a new era of collaborative entrepreneurship?
It's a cool thing to think about. Okay, so we've got the tech-focused creators like Adrian and Lydia,
Right.
and we've got the community builders like Talia. What about Danny?
Oh, Danny.
You said he's all about the hustle and multi-platform marketing. What's his story?
Danny's energy is contagious. He's a big believer in promoting your work everywhere.
Yeah.
Snapchat, LinkedIn, Fanbase, Lemon8, you name it.
Wow, he's not messing around.
He even talks about this live selling app called Whatnot.
What not? What's
that's
that?
becoming really popular with creators.
Okay.
It's kind of like a virtual flea market
Oh, interesting.
where you can actually interact with buyers live. It plays into that whole live streaming trend and
Right.
the demand for more authentic, engaging shopping experiences.
Makes sense. But isn't there a risk of spreading yourself too thin? I mean, how can you possibly maintain a presence on all those platforms
Yeah.
and still have time to create quality content?
Danny acknowledges that it's definitely a challenge, but he stresses the importance of creating content that really resonates with your target audience.
So it's not just about posting for the sake of posting.
Right.
It's about actually providing value and making those genuine connections with your followers.
Exactly.
So be strategic and intentional with your content, even if you're on multiple platforms.
Right.
Did Danny give any specific tips on how to actually do that?
He mentions Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V,
Oh, yeah.
as a big inspiration.
Okay.
So, hustle and adaptability are key. He also tells this story about making a viral TikTok video in Times Square.
Cool.
And his point was basically, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, even if it feels a little uncomfortable.
Authenticity over perfection.
Yeah, exactly.
But wasn't that the video he said he used ChatGPT to help him write?
Oh, yeah.
So doesn't that contradict the whole authenticity thing?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But Danny is very upfront about using AI tools.
Okay.
In fact, he talks about using ChatGPT in conversation mode to help him brainstorm ideas and even refine his scripts.
So it's not about replacing human creativity. It's more like
Yeah,
augmenting it, having this digital brainstorming partner.
exactly.
Does he mention any other tools or strategies he uses?
He's all about using AI to automate those tedious tasks
Okay.
and to streamline his workflow.
Right.
That frees up his time and energy so he can really focus on the creative side of his business.
Smart approach, especially if you're juggling multiple platforms and projects.
Definitely.
Okay, so it sounds like Danny's not just an entrepreneur, he's kind of a tech enthusiast too. What about Bree? You mentioned that she's all about investing in yourself, both financially and personally.
Yes.
What kind of advice did she share?
Bree's segment is all about urging creators to think big and to take control of their financial future.
Okay.
She actually echoes Will's advice about investing in AI,
Right.
and she frames it as a way to actively participate in this technological revolution that's happening,
I like that.
rather than just being a bystander.
That's a good way to put it. It's not just about using AI to make money. It's about having a stake in the companies that are shaping the future.
Right.
Did she mention any specific companies or investment strategies?
She keeps it pretty general. She encourages creators to do their own research
Yeah.
and to invest in what they believe in.
Right.
But she does talk about her own experience investing in her business, and she emphasizes that it's not just about creating and selling products, it's about building long-term wealth and financial security.
So she's practicing what she preaches. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Bree also touches on the concept of digital models,
Yeah.
which Will brought up earlier. What's her take on that?
Bree sees digital models as this huge opportunity for creators to own and monetize their likenesses.
Interesting.
She presents it as a way to protect your intellectual property and explore new avenues for creative expression.
Wait, hold on. What exactly do they mean by digital models?
So imagine having a digital version of yourself.
Like an avatar or something?
Yeah, kind of. You can use it for all sorts of things.
Okay.
Creating content, representing your brand, even showing up in virtual events.
That's wild.
It's like having your own personal brand ambassador that you have complete control over.
Yeah, that's next level. But wouldn't that be super expensive and complicated to create?
Well, the technology is still pretty new,
Right.
but it's becoming a lot more accessible and affordable.
Interesting.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially if you're a creator who wants to build a lasting brand and legacy.
Okay, my mind is officially blown again. We've gone from personalized keychains to digital avatars in like an hour. I need a minute to process all this.
It's a lot to take in,
Yeah.
but that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
Right.
It gives us a glimpse into the future of creativity, technology, and entrepreneurship all at once.
So we've got the tech enthusiasts, the community builders, the hustlers, and the investors.
Yeah.
What's the common thread that ties them all together?
I think it's their willingness to embrace new technologies, their entrepreneurial spirit, and their belief in the power of community.
Yeah.
They're not just reacting to the changes that are happening,
Right.
they're actively shaping the future.
It's really inspiring to see. And there's one more creator we haven't mentioned, Elkeisha.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned she recommended a Photoshop class.
She did.
What's the significance of that?
Elkeisha's recommendation really emphasizes the importance of lifelong learning
Yeah.
and always developing new skills, even if you're already experienced. In a field like AI that's changing so quickly, it's crucial to stay ahead of the curve and keep learning new things.
So it's a good reminder that even with AI, human skills are still essential.
Absolutely.
Now, before we move on to part 3,
Okay.
are there any other key takeaways from this episode that you think are worth highlighting?
I think this episode really demonstrates how AI is becoming more democratic. It's not just a tool for the tech giants and the experts anymore.
Right.
Anyone with a computer and an internet connection can use these tools to create, innovate, and even build their own business. It's a really exciting time to be a creator.
It is. And it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about the human stories, the collaborative spirit, the possibilities that emerge when people come together to make something new.
Exactly.
All right, so let's wrap up this deep dive in part 3, where we'll talk about the show's ending and what it all means.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we've talked about GPTs, digital fashion, personalized crafts, investment advice, even digital models. It's obvious that these creators are all about pushing boundaries and really embracing all these new possibilities that are out there.
Yeah.
But how does the Will and Tellermade Show actually end? Does it, leave us with any final thoughts or key takeaways?
They wrap things up on a really positive note. Will and Teller kind of reflect on all the amazing talent and creativity they've seen.
Yeah.
You can tell they're really optimistic and excited about what the future holds for the creator economy, especially with AI becoming such a big part of it all.
You know, through this whole deep dive,
Yeah.
I keep coming back to this question. Is AI a tool for creativity,
Right.
or is it a threat to it?
It's a big question.
And this episode doesn't really give us a clear answer,
Yeah.
but it does make me think about it in a different way.
I think it shows how AI can actually be used for good,
Okay.
for promoting inclusivity, for driving innovation. It's not necessarily about replacing human creativity.
Right.
It's more about expanding it, augmenting it, and making it accessible to more people.
That's a really empowering way to think about it. It's not us versus the machines.
Exactly.
It's us working with machines to create something new and incredible.
And that's exactly what these creators are doing. They're not just using AI. They're shaping it, pushing it to its limits,
Right.
and finding new ways to use it that we probably haven't even thought of yet.
Let's be real, though. There are some valid concerns about AI, too.
Of course.
Things like job displacement, algorithmic bias, the potential for misuse. This episode doesn't really address those darker aspects.
Yeah, that's true. It focuses on the positive, the inspiring.
Right.
It's like a glimpse into a possible future where AI is used for good,
Yeah.
where it helps to uplift people rather than control or exploit them.
But isn't that kind of naive? I mean, technology is a tool,
Right.
and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Well, this episode doesn't shy away from the fact that AI is a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Remember when Adrian talked about using GPTs to get around Etsy's restrictions?
Yeah.
That shows how AI can be used to disrupt those existing power structures and challenge the status quo.
That's true. So it's not just about the tech itself.
Exactly.
It's about how we choose to use it, the values that we build into it, and the safeguards that we put in place to make sure it's not misused.
Absolutely. And those are conversations that we need to be having right now as these technologies are being developed and used more and more.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's not just about AI from a technical standpoint.
Right.
It's about the human element,
Yeah.
the creative potential, and the responsibility we have to shape how this technology is used in the future.
This show leaves you with this sense of possibility, but also the sense of urgency.
Right.
It's up to all of us as creators, consumers, and just citizens of the world to make sure AI is used to benefit humanity, not harm it.
So what does all this mean for our listeners? We've explored this world of the Will and Tellermade Show.
Right.
We've seen this really cool community of creators
Yeah.
using AI in all these innovative and inspiring ways. But the bigger message here is that it's a call to action.
What role will AI play in your life?
Yeah.
How are you going to use this technology to express your own creativity, to build your business, to contribute to the world around you?
This deep dive has given you a glimpse of what's possible.
Les.
Now it's your turn to explore, experiment, and shape the future of AI.
Keep learning, keep creating, and keep asking those tough questions.
Yeah.
The future of AI is in our hands.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the Will and Tellermade Show.
Great episode.
Until next time, keep diving deep and stay curious.